Rodrygo reveals truth behind summer transfer saga after Liverpool speculation. Latest Liverpool transfer news as Real Madrid star Rodrygo finally explains the truth behind the latest rumors. After being linked with a summer transfer to Liverpool, Rodrygo has suggested that he was never interested in leaving Real Madrid. Uncertainty over the winger's future sprouted from the fact his role had diminished under previous manager Carlo Ancelotti. When Xabi Alonso took over at the Santiago Bernabeu, it looked to be an immediate turning point for the Brazilian. However, he was selected to start only once at the FIFA Club World Cup over the summer. Liverpool were in the process of selling Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez, and with Alexander Isak not yet signed at that point, Rodrygo was a rumored alternative. But the Reds progressed in a deal for the Newcastle United striker, and besides, Rodrygo himself has now implied he was not keen on finding a new home. "I'm used to it. Every year they say I'm leaving. During the transfer window, every week I was on a different team," the 24-year-old told TNT Sports Brazil, via Mundo Deportivo, after Real's Champions League clash with Marseille this week. "I even joked with my parents and friends, look, today I'm on this one, tomorrow I'm on that one. Every week I was on a different team, but, as I said, I was very calm mentally and it didn't affect me at all. I continued enjoying my vacation, training because I knew this was where I would continue. Well, in the end, I'm still at home, in the place I always dreamed of being. I'll continue giving my all every day I wear this shirt." Rodrygo has begun the 2025-26 campaign 3 appearances out of a possible 5 for Los Blancos, being named in the starting lineup twice. "I train and dedicate myself every day, waiting for opportunities," the player added. He's Alonso, been changing a lot. He's been playing differently in every game. He started the season by putting me more on the left, but everyone knows I can play inside and on the right, as I always have. I'm slowly getting back into my form, after everything I've been through. I went through a very difficult time at the end of last season. I want to thank my family for being there for me during this time. I want to thank Mr. Ancelotti, because he knows better than anyone what I've been through and he's helped me a lot. Rodrygo moved to Spain from boyhood club Santos at the age of 18. He has gone on to make 273 appearances for Real, scoring 68 and providing 52 assists, whilst winning 3 La Liga titles and the Champions League twice. His future could have turned out very differently had he agreed to sign for Liverpool 1 year before his big move, though he has already explained before why he chose to reject the Reds' advances when only a teenager. "We didn't close the deal because I didn't want to. I wanted to stay at Santos even though the offer was very good," Rodrygo explained about the failed 2017 move. "The pathway they promised me would also have been very good for my career. I was going to finish my studies in England to prepare for European football. It had always been my dream to play in Europe. Everything was very good, but my desire spoke louder. I wanted to stay at Santos and make a bit of history at the club. And that's what happened. I was able to fulfill my dream of playing for Santos. But it's true, I almost went to Liverpool." Ibrahima Konate, not as good as he thinks as Liverpool, told to sign Marc Guehi. Ibrahima Konate could leave Liverpool for free next summer, when his current contract with the Anfield club is due to expire, and Crystal Palace defender Marc Guehi could arrive to replace him. Stan Collymore is not a huge fan of Ibrahima Konate. Ibrahima Konate has been told that he's not as good as he thinks he is by former Liverpool striker Stan Collymore, who believes the Reds could find at least half a dozen better partners for Virgil van Dijk from around Europe than the Frenchman. Konate could leave Liverpool for free next summer, when his current contract with the Anfield club is due to expire, and Crystal Palace defender Marc Guehi could arrive to replace him. Liverpool almost signed Guehi on deadline day earlier this month, only for Palace to pull the plug on the deal at the 11th hour due to Oliver Glasner's concerns over a lack of defensive cover in the Palace squad. Guehi, like Konate, is set to become a free agent in 2026, and Collymore believes he would be a more than adequate replacement for the Frenchman, who continues to be linked with a free transfer to Real Madrid. "I think with Konate, there may be an element that he thinks he is better than he really is," Collymore told 10Bet Casino. "If you look over his Liverpool career, and if you were to ask the club supporters to be honest, after all the hype and everything that comes from playing for Liverpool, they will say he's not the next great European central defender. I think over the course of his career at Anfield, he's been a 6 out of 10 player. If we're talking about Virgil van Dijk, he's a solid 9 out of 10. So, one of the reasons why Liverpool wanted to go in for Marc Guehi was probably to have their backup ready in case Konate didn't sign a new contract in the summer. Liverpool is likely to go back in for Marc Guehi next year. I think the club will probably have Guehi on the back burner for the summer to replace Konate. And I think Arne Slot has already hinted they might make another move for him in January and not even wait. That move will depend on Crystal Palace and their progress in Europe. I think Konate is a good centre-back, but he's not a great central defender, and Liverpool could find 6, 7, 8 options from around Europe, from the Premier League, from La Liga, from Serie A, from the Bundesliga that would be better central defenders to partner Virgil van Dijk. So, for me, I've always looked at this situation and gone, this isn't something to be terrified about. This is just something where Liverpool needs to be proactive and bring somebody in. And I think that somebody might be Marc Guehi in January. Luis Diaz makes new claim about Liverpool exit. I decided. Luis Diaz has admitted he held talks with Barcelona prior to joining Bayern Munich from Liverpool. Former Liverpool star Luis Diaz is interviewed after helping Bayern Munich beat Chelsea. Luis Diaz has admitted he held transfer talks with Barcelona prior to leaving Liverpool this summer. The Colombian, who helped fire the Reds to the Premier League title last season, joined Bayern Munich in a deal worth up to £65.5 million and has enjoyed an explosive start to life in Germany. He scored the winner on his debut for the Bavarians as they beat VfB Stuttgart to win the Franz Beckenbauer Super Cup. The forward then followed that up with a goal and 2 assists on his Bundesliga debut against RB Leipzig, while he now has 4 goals and 2 assists from his first 6 outings for Bayern. Diaz had wanted to leave Liverpool last summer, with Man City reportedly his destination of choice. While they are said to have proposed a swap deal for Julian Alvarez, their title rivals rejected the suggestion, prompting the Reds to shut down the possibility of the forward moving to the Etihad. Going on to return 17 goals and 5 assists for Liverpool to help Arne Slot's side win the Premier League title, Diaz again pushed to leave this summer after failing to agree a new contract with the Reds. A boyhood Barcelona fan, he has regularly been linked with the Catalans in recent years, and the Spanish Giants even had an approach rejected by Liverpool back in June. But despite their interest, Barca failed to make a renewed bid for Diaz, leaving the pathway open for Bayern Munich to sign him, as they moved for Manchester United forward Marcus Rashford on loan instead. Diaz has now admitted that he did hold talks with Barcelona and a number of other clubs. But despite his childhood allegiances to the Catalans, he has no regrets about signing for Bayern instead. Alexander Isak sends heartfelt message after Liverpool debut. Alexander Isak made his Liverpool debut against Atletico Madrid on Wednesday night. Alexander Isak has sent a heartfelt message to Liverpool supporters after making his debut for the club. The striker joined the Reds in a club record £125 million move from Newcastle United on transfer deadline day after a lengthy summer saga. The Sweden international had effectively gone on strike at St. James Park in a bid to force an exit, skipping the Magpies' pre-season tour of the Far East before continuing to train alone away from his teammates following their return to Tyneside. He was belatedly granted his desired move to Anfield on deadline day, and made his first appearance of any kind since the final day of last season when handed an 18-minute substitute outing against Kosovo for Sweden during the international break. Liverpool are managing the striker carefully following a disjointed pre-season, with Arne Slot taking the decision to leave Isak out of his matchday squad for last weekend's trip to Burnley. Such a stance was with one eye on the Reds' clash with Atletico Madrid, with Slot also admitting that he expected Isak to be fit to feature for at least 45 minutes against the La Liga outfit. Sure enough, the 25-year-old was selected to start against the Spanish outfit and completed 58 minutes during an encouraging debut performance. Meanwhile, he received the loudest of receptions from supporters, both as his name was read out ahead of kickoff and when replaced shortly before the hour mark. Taking to Instagram after the match, Isak paid tribute to the Liverpool fanbase as he shared his delight at making his long-awaited debut for the Reds. "Amazing night to make my debut," he wrote. "Thank you for the warm welcome, Reds. YNWA. I was positively surprised by how fit he was during that 60 minutes, he said at his post-match press conference. But that probably, tells you that it might be a difference to sign a 20-year-old from a different league or a 25 or 26-year-old that is used to playing in this league. Although he only trained for 2 weeks, he has so many games under his belt that he is probably more able to be ready for 60. But I was positively surprised how fit he was. I wasn't surprised by his quality because that's what we all know. You don't have to be a manager to recognize how much quality he has. But it's always nice to see if a player starts the way he starts, like Hugo Ekitike, who started the same as he did. Yeah, a good start, only 60 minutes and now we have to build him up from here. But I can tell you he is not going to play 90 again on Saturday." Liverpool boss Arne Slot, surprised at Alexander Isak after Swedish striker finally makes Reds' debut following deadline day switch from Newcastle. Liverpool's record signing Alexander Isak finally pulled on the Reds' shirt for the first time, featuring in Wednesday night's thrilling 3-2 Champions League win over Atletico Madrid. The £125 million striker lasted just under an hour at Anfield, but his display left Arne Slot both encouraged and slightly taken aback by the Swede's sharpness so soon after joining from Newcastle. Isak's Anfield debut on an ecstatic night. Isak started up front in Liverpool's Champions League opener and played 58 minutes before being replaced by Hugo Ekitike. The 25-year-old striker linked up well with fellow new boy Florian Wirtz, showing flashes of his quality despite his lack of pre-season minutes. Liverpool eventually sealed the win late on through captain Virgil van Dijk, who scored a dramatic stoppage-time header. Slot surprised by Isak's fitness despite lack of pre-season. "I was positively surprised by how fit Alexander was during the 60 minutes, Slot told TNT Sports. That maybe tells you that it might be different to sign a 20-year-old from a different league than a 25-year-old used to playing in this league. Although he only trained for 2 weeks, he has so many games under his belt in this league. I wasn't surprised about his quality, as we all know that. It's always nice to see if a player starts the way he started. Ekitike started the same way. It was a good start, only 60 minutes, and now we have to build him up from here. He's not going to play 90 against Everton. One of the things you need if you want to compete for the Premier League and the Cups is mentality and fitness and quality, and today we saw that." Liverpool build their squad with Isak as headliner. Liverpool smashed the British transfer record to bring Isak in on deadline day, making him the focal point of their attack alongside Ekitike. Slot believes his Premier League experience will ease the transition, but he remains cautious about overloading him so soon. The Dutch coach stressed that rotation will be vital, with Liverpool juggling title ambitions and the demands of European football. Isak could start against Everton, but 90 minutes unlikely. Liverpool face Everton in the Merseyside derby at Anfield this weekend, where Slot has confirmed Isak will not play the full 90 minutes. The Swede will continue to build fitness as the Reds look to integrate him gradually into their front line. With 2 elite strikers now at his disposal, Slot is keen to strike the right balance as Liverpool chase silverware on multiple fronts. Arne Slot responds to Marc Guehi transfer reaction after failed Liverpool move. The latest Liverpool transfer news as the Reds boss has again addressed the situation around the collapsed deadline day move for Marc Guehi. Marc Guehi has been in action for Crystal Palace this week. Liverpool boss Arne Slot has opened up about the disappointment of not completing a deadline day move for Marc Guehi. The Crystal Palace defender was close to joining the Reds before the Eagles pulled the plug on a deal at the last minute. The club decided not to sell after failing to bring in a replacement in the final hours of the transfer window. It means that Guehi will stay at Selhurst Park until at least January. Just days after the failed move, Guehi was in action for England. He started both World Cup qualifiers against Andorra and Serbia during the international break. He has also been back in action for Palace. The defender wore the captain's armband in the Premier League clash against Sunderland on Saturday afternoon and in Tuesday night's Carabao Cup clash against Millwall. Slot has again addressed the situation surrounding Guehi. He has outlined how he believes both the player and Palace would have responded. "For us it was of course a disappointment, for the player I assume, as well, because he was expecting to come to us," he told Sky Sports. "I try to put myself in the player's shoes, but that can happen with a player from us as well. Maybe a player wanted to leave but in the end couldn't because we couldn't get a player we wanted. That happens in football many times, and the good thing in football is, especially after the international break, everybody comes back, accepts the situation and knows he has to perform well. But if a player wants a transfer that he doesn't get, then you always feel for him. If it's a player of my team, you talk to him, make sure he gets his energy back and keeps going again, and that is probably what has happened at Palace with Marc Guehi.